Hello traders, and welcome to another exciting edition of our weekly XAUSD and GBPUSD trade analysis. Okay, so I'm excited to be here with you as we dive into the dynamic world of forex trading. So in today's video, we'll be dissecting the price action for XAUSD and GBPUSD, identifying key and potential levels on the charts, and discussing potential strategies for the week ahead.
So this is XAUUSD on the daily time frame. So right here on my screen, we are going to be marking out some key zones that we are expecting price to either break out, respect, or even retest from. So right here I'm just going to be zooming on so you can see some very key and vital zones on the daily time frame for XAUSD. As you can see right here, we can see that price broke out of this zone, this resistance zone, and then before continuing upward. You can also see that from this previous resistance zone, which were from here, price also retested the zone before continuing downward. So I'm just going to zoom in on the 4 hours time frame so we can see this retest and this breakout clearly. So guys, this is the 4 hours time frame on XAUUSD. As you can see on my screen, you can see that price respected this zone, price just retested it, turned it into a resistance. Remember, it was a support right here, so we are going to be expecting a drop from XAUUSD from its current position down to the support zone, or probably below the support zone, to continue below the support zone. But on the flip side, if price decides to continue upward, we are going to be expecting price to break through this recent resistance zone and to the next resistance zone. So I'm going to say that again, I'm going to take that again. Generally, we are expecting a drop, a continuation to the downside from the current price of XAUUSD to the next support zone. Expecting price to drop from this current price to the next support zone, or even below the support zone. But on the flip side, if price decides to continue upward on the 4 hours time frame, we're going to be expecting price to retest the resistance zone right here, or probably break out of it to the next resistance zone, which is right here. So I'm just going to be zooming in on the 1 hour time frame so we can get a clearer picture of what we're looking at. This is the 1 hour time frame for XAUUSD. As you can see, there are key zones that price has been retesting. Price has retested. So right here we're going to still be expecting a drop. It's not going to be very different from the 4 hours time frame. As you can see, the 1 hour time frame, there are some key zones that have been marked out. So we are going to be expecting a drop from its current position to this support zone right here, or probably below the support zone, which is not very different from what we expected on the 4 hours time frame. So I'll just make the chart very clear so we can see it. So we're expecting price to drop from this zone right here, the current position where it is, down to this support zone, right, this support zone here, or below it. But on the flip side, if price decides to continue upward, we're going to expect price to get to this zone right here. We're going to expect price to get to this zone right here, this resistance zone, or probably the next resistance zone. I'm just going to draw this so that it becomes very clear for us. We're going to expect price to move upwards to this zone, to respect this zone, or probably to the next resistance zone right here. So guys, generally on XAUUSD, we are expecting continuation to the downside to the next support, or even breaking the next support. But on the flip side, if price decides to go upward, we're going to be expecting price to respect this resistance zone right here, or probably break out of it to respect the next resistance zone. Okay guys, this is what GBPUSD looks like on a daily time frame. Remember, if you were with us for last week's forecast, you discovered that we marked out a few zones and that we expected GBPUSD to respect, of which it did respect, which was this zone right here we marked out last week. For this week, we're going to be looking at a few other zones that we're expecting price to either break out from, or probably respect and then continue its movement. So for this week, one of the zones we are going to be looking out for is this support zone right here, this support zone and the resistance zone right here. So for next week, we are expecting price to continue downward from its current position to the next support zone. As you can see, guys, we are expecting price to continue downward to the next support zone. But on the flip side, if price decides to continue upward, we are expecting price to move upward and respect this resistance zone, or probably break out of it to respect the next resistance zone. So let's mark that out real quick. So if price decides to continue upward, we're expecting it to move upward and respect this resistance zone right here, or probably break out of it, retest it, and then continue to the next resistance zone on the daily time frame. So generally, guys, on the GBP USD on the daily time frame, we're expecting price to either drop from its current position to the next support zone. If it decides to continue upward, we're expecting price to continue to respect the next resistance zone before dropping. But if it breaks out of it, we're expecting it to continue to the next resistance zone before we can expect any drop. So we're going to move over to 4 hours time frame to see the different zones that we can also look out for. So guys, this is the 4 hours time frame for GBP USD. As you can see, the zones that we marked out on the daily time frame are still very visible. So right here, we're expecting price to continue its drop downward movement from its current zone to the next support zone and even break out of it. Yeah, price might likely break out of it for next week. But if price, on the flip side, if price decides to continue upward, so we're going to be expecting, I'll draw that out, we're going to be expecting price to reverse its movement upward to respect this resistance zone right here. And if it decides to break out of it, we're going to be expecting price to respect the next resistance zone. So generally, what we are expecting for GBP USD on the 4 hours time frame is a continuous drop to the downside. But if price decides to continue upward, we expect it to either respect the first resistance or probably respect the second resistance zone. We are still going to move down to the 1 hour time frame so that we can see visibly some key zones that we need to look out for too. This is the 1 hour time frame for GBP USD. I'll just zoom this so we can see everything very clearly. So for GBP USD, you can see that the zone we marked out here is the very valid zone for which price has been retesting. We're expecting a drop of GBP USD to drop below this zone, or probably drop below this zone right here. So we're expecting GBP USD to drop below this zone, or probably drop below this zone to the next very valid support zone which we marked out on the higher time frame, which was visible on the 4 hours and the daily time frame. We're expecting price to drop there. But on the flip side, if price decides to continue upward from this current zone, most likely respect the first resistance zone, and if it breaks out of it, we are expecting price to respect the next resistance zone, which is continue its movement upward. Okay guys, thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of our weekly forecast. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also turn on the notification so as to get notified whenever we post our weekly forecast. And also guys, please don't forget to join us on our weekly webinars which are hosted every Wednesdays. You can check through the description of this video to get the link to our Telegram channel. Please don't miss out on the webinars. It's always educative, always captivating, and we share insights on forex trading as a whole. Please join us. Much love from FX. See you next week, same time, same station. GM guys.